Hi everybody. Been a busy couple days, but I've been wanting to make this video for days based on a documentary I've seen, and it's an important one. It's going to be controversial, sort of, but not really, because I judge everybody the same. So watch to the end. This video is about the religious narcissist and how these types of narcissists, in many ways they're cult leaders, get away with their narcissism, particularly because despite the fact that they are cult leaders and narcissistic, they wrap themselves in the veneer of Christianity. Now, more or less, these people are making up their own religion, incorporating parts of Christianity, or at best interpretation, their own interpretation of, it's not really based on any established documents about Christianity. I mean, I know a decent amount about the Catholic Church, and for all their faults, at least whether you agree with it or not, they have canon law and they can cite why they believe what they believe. It's not just, I, the great leader, have said. Even the Pope can't get away with that. And he is the Pope, but which is it's kind of a well-established office, arguably the last absolute monarch in Europe. But that's beside the point. This video, my inspiration for creating this video on this topic, is based on a documentary that I watched called Shiny Happy People, which, not to brag, but it proved what my intuition had been saying for years, that the infamous family known as the Duggars and their faith in what is known as the quiverful movement, which was created by a narcissist and a sexual predator named Bill Gothard, is in fact a cult masquerading itself as Christianity. Now, I will state, all religions have this problem in some way or form. Christianity seems to be the one that gets away with it the most, and it's also the most predominant religion in the Anglosphere, which is where most of my subscribers are. But it exists in others too. Given, the current wars, we are all familiar with, with the radical Islamic groups, and their own people are getting better at calling them out, which is what everybody needs to do. And in fact, even other religions, most people in the Jewish community consider the Natare Karta a radical Jewish group, and the mainstream Jewish faithful are pretty good at calling them out too. Although they're kind of more mild, they're more like living in the past than oppressive, because to the credit of the Natare Karta, they're not recruiting. Like, they see themselves as the true Jews, but instead of saying things like, you must follow these laws or else, they're just like, it is very hard to become Jewish, do not become Jewish. Like, they kind of want to be left alone to do their own thing. They're not trying to take over anything. They more or less want to be left alone, but some of their views can be seen as extreme. They mingle with Ahmadinejad and other Holocaust deniers. And yes, the pagan community, as small as we are, we have this problem too, but we've been calling them out since pretty much the rebirth of paganism in the 50s, because it is, some say that Gerald Gardner was a sexual predator, a failed movie director, which is why he incorporates, he was a nudist, and why he incorporates so much nudity into Gardnerian Wicca. I have the secrets. You 20-year-old girl, you must get naked. That's the oldest trick in the book. And from that time, his first, and to this day most likely, harshest critic would be Robert Cochran, who is the father of traditional witchcraft away from the Gardnerian tradition. So, he was pathological. Those Gardnerians. So, it exists in every religion. But again, the Christians seem to get away with it. Particularly Protestants Because, yeah, there's some extremist Catholic groups out there like the CMRI, which was started by Francis Schukert. But, some people would say the same about the SSPV, Society of St. Pius V, which is more conservative than the Society of St. Pius X. But take CMRI out of it, most of those traditionalist Catholic groups just don't recognize the Pope, and they basically want to be allowed to practice Catholicism as it was in the 1950s. There's no, with them, there's no like new revelation of everybody's had it wrong all these years and God came to me and gave me the true faith. No, the traditionalist Catholics are basically like Vatican II bad. So anything, post-Vatican II, we don't pay attention to. We're just gonna do things the way they were when Pope Pius XII was around. He died in 58. But back to my main point, the quiverful movement. If you're not familiar with the Duggars, they're a pretty famous reality family, 19 kids and counting. Some of them are hypocrites, particularly Josh, who, family values, and I stand with Rick Santorum and Ted Cruz and Mike Huckabee, but I sexually molested 2 of my own sisters and their friends and had an Ashley Madison account, but I should be forgiven. And you see this in these narcissistic Christian cults where they'll judge people harshly that they know nothing about. It's like, oh, gay people burn. But when one of their own breaks their own rules, that's different, And there's a lot of good old boy shit in here, like Joshy Boy, when he committed sexual assault. The cop that he talked to was his daddy's buddy, and he just, gave him a stern talking to because, he won us, different rules. See, there's the double standard. In the narcissistic cult, membership of that group means that the rules don't apply to you. You, like any other narcissist, they get to do the judging, but the rules don't apply to them. So even if they break the rules they're making up, they don't get punished. It's different for them. They're of the chosen. And I'm talking about the cult members because they're, like the enablers of the narcissist. In this case, it would be Bill Gothard. And before I forget, you see this in new, all cult leaders are the same, whether it's Bill Gothard or David Koresh, who also wrapped himself in the veneer of Christianity. But you see it in new religions too. You see it with, David Miscavige of Scientology, currently, who's being drugged in the civil court. Yay. Check out. There's plenty of people that talk about that. Aaron Levin Smith, Blown for Good, the Headleys, they're quite funny. So, but anyway, so Gothard starts, his own little sect of Christianity, surrounds himself with underage girls, tells them how they can wear their hair, what their purpose in life was, how to dress, complete control over the most minute things, purely, so narcissistic. Because remember, narcissists want to control every aspect of your life. And this cult, the quiverful movement, teaches that women are literally property of first their father and then their husband. Yeah, I don't agree with that. But then again, I am one of the rare Lilithan men. Oh, I wonder if Bill Gothard's dead. I wonder if Bill Gothard has encountered Lilith. I wish I could see that. Because Bill Gothard thinks that all women should be sweet, timid, and submissive and can't say anything to a man. I'm just picturing him coming before Lilith, the original empowered woman and the strongest that ever was and ever will be, because the whole equality and feminist movement, it all started with her. So in this religion, that is the rules. In this religion, the father can select who their daughter can court, chaperone, and thus, even if she doesn't want to, they must do it. And to the credit of one of the Duggars, one of the kids, Jill, she's, I don't know, late 20s, she is the star of this expose. So are other members of the quiverful movement, but, she is the one from the famous reality family, and she speaks out and tells the truth. Truth that, was obvious, because I always saw that. My mother was into that, ironically enough. Yes, my mother loved that show. My mother, the heavy drug-using, liberal, bisexual, lapsed witch. So, I know. It made no sense. And I, brought that up. But my mother wasn't intuitive. I was always like, can you see how fake? It's one of two things. Either these people are the fakest, like, as fake, if not faker, than a lot of the people in the entertainment industry, and or heavily medicated. I still to this day swear that the mother of 19 and counting, what the hell's her name? Michelle, I think. Jim Bob's wife. That woman's heavily medicated. I don't know that, but that is what my intuition's telling me. The tone of her voice, her mannerisms. Nobody can stay in character that long. That's medication. But nonetheless, like other cults, similar to Scientology and their Sea Org, Gothard's cult has or at least did, I think it still does, has a paramilitary component. These religious cults all tend to build some form of their own military for young boys, which is terrifying in itself too. And I go as far to say, a lot of legit Christians that I may not agree with, but, they're reasonable people, would speak out about radical Islamic groups doing the same. And they have a point, but it, gotta be equal. It's like, no fundamentalist religion should be forming a paramilitary group, but I don't, it shouldn't matter who you're calling God. It's like religion and military, that's not a thing. If you wanna be in the military, they'll most likely take you, and if they won't take you, then you shouldn't be anywhere near military style firearms. Because if the army won't take you, there's probably a good reason, assuming you don't have some illness or physical disability. But what's terrifying about the Quiverful movement is they're given a pass because they label themselves as Christian, even though it is a dictatorship like all cults. Bill Gothard has the direct line to God. I don't remember that being a thing. And that you find that with televangelists too. I would say the fakest one is Kenneth Copeland, who claims he has a personal covenant with God to live 120 years on this earth, and tells poor people they must tithe and give him money, even though he's worth, if not billions, hundreds of millions. He has his own jet that alone was like $88 million. Now, I'm not the expert here, but plenty of you on here are Christian. There's no such thing as a person. Like, there is the covenant. I remember that from Catholic school, but there's no personal covenants with the Christian God. Like, isn't it kind of the same deal for everybody, if I remember right? I mean, it's not like what Copeland, I'm sorry to get off on Copeland, what Copeland is saying, it's like he has his own little pact. Now, I mean, that's what people like me do with gods like Lilith. But it's not, in Copeland's case, it's just like, God determined I'm special just for being me. Even, like, pagans like me don't believe that. If we want to form a pact, we have to find a deity that can do that, and also have to give something in return. Something that particular deity would be interested in that would further their goals. So there's an exchange going on. Like, I will make you successful in this industry, but you must expose the exploitation and sexual abuse of women. Who would make a pact like that, and for what job? Says the guy who just got back into modeling. Not that. Anyway, it is terrifying to me that narcissists are able to get a pass on their narcissism just by claiming to be practicing a certain religion, Christianity, but they're making up their own version. I mean, I could make up my own version. I could do something wacky and be like, well, God came to me and it turns out that, Lilith is the true mother of Christ, and incorporate some Christian ideas and get tax exempt status and be like, now everybody follow me and give me money. My integrity would never allow it, and I'm far too introverted. But nonetheless, would I be given, if I consider it, a true, the true interpretation of Christianity, would I be given a pass? I would be using elements from the Bible. Lilith is a biblical figure. She's only mentioned a couple times as the screech owl, but nonetheless, she's in there. The point of this video is that everybody should be judged equally, and that goes for narcissists too. If a narcissist is committing narcissistic acts and exploiting people and taking their free will, that person should be judged by those narcissistic actions that they chose to commit, because, the actions of a narcissist are a choice. I did a video on it. It should not be relevant at all what religion that narcissist is or claims to be. A narcissist is a narcissist, whether it's Bill Gothard making up his own version of Christianity, whether it's, a bishop in the Catholic Church, an Anglican minister, a devout Orthodox Jew, a moderate Muslim living in America, a witch who owns their own witchcraft shop, a Buddhist. You get the point. I don't care. A narcissist is a narcissist and shouldn't be given a pass based on their religion. In fact, nobody should be given a pass based on their religion. That just blows my mind with those double standards. If anything, when there's like a sexual abuse of, like, we'll stick with Christianity. We'll go with the Catholic model. Because that's a famous case. If I was a Catholic bishop, or let's just say a Monsignor of a parish. So I'm a big parish in Philly. I'm the Monsignor. I got 2 assistant priests. And I find out one of my assistant priests was molesting kids. I'm coming down on him hard, because it's like, whoa. You're giving all of us a bad name. Not, we're going to protect you because you have a collar on. It's like, no. You are a disgrace to the collar. And, you're saying, oh, you sure you do that? Well, I'm the guy who, spoke out against firefighters abusing other firefighters, one of them being me. Not, code of silence, we all got to stick together, we're in the same club. No. It's like, you don't get a pass because you got the Maltese Cross. You're disgracing the Maltese Cross. That's the firefighter badge thing, for those of you that don't know. And that's how it should be. If you are in a religious group or professional organization, anybody committing crimes against other people in that group or people outside of that group, the people in that group that are not committing crimes should be the ones speaking out. They're making your group look bad. If you protect that person because they are in your group, then you're enabling abuse, you're likely enabling narcissism, and you're a hypocrite with double standards, which is never good. So, if you haven't seen the documentary Shiny Happy People, it's 4 one-hour episodes. It sheds a lot of light into what was pretty obvious to any intuitive that was even remotely familiar with the Duggars, and just exposes their double standard and hypocrisy. But a lot of it, again, gets swept under the rug simply because Gothard he made up his own religion and his own rules, but he calls it a version of Christianity, so he largely gets a pass for that. And that's wrong. And you legit Christians that I disagree with on some points, obviously, but you guys should be at the forefront of being like, no, that's not really what Christianity's about. Like, that's not what our religion's about. He's making up his own thing. Like, not only is he a bad guy, he's making stuff up and using our religion to try to justify his abuse. And he's clearly can't say it. He's a megalomaniac. Megalomaniacal. That's it. And it's a common theme with all cult leaders of all different groups. But again, the reason why the Christian narcissistic cult leader is the most scariest is because they tend to largely get a pass for their narcissism, for their greed, for their depravity, for their double standards. And that's got to stop, because they prey on a lot of people who can't say no. And that was the most infuriating part of this documentary, is listening to all the women who were at the time teenage girls being in positions where they felt like they couldn't say no because this guy was, the self-appointed chosen one. So he doesn't want to worship the Christian God. He wants to be the Christian God. And it was David Koresh's thing. He was supposedly, and he told his followers he was the second coming. Could there be a bigger sign of a narcissist? Yes, I'm a male Alethan witch. I'm not the only one. I'm not the chosen one. It just happens that not many men are, want to follow that path. But to believe that one is an anointed chosen one based on nothing more than because they claim some deity spoke to them, not based on, their knowledge of a particular religion or hardships or trials that they endured. Big red flag, and it shouldn't matter what religion that they're claiming to be the chosen one from. They should all be judged for what they are, narcissists, just like Josh Duggar. It should be a registered sex offender. Doesn't matter that he was on TV. Doesn't matter. But, his dad, and I'll tell you what, if that was my kid, he'd be running to the police station, because he'd be more afraid of me than anything else. But no, Joshy boy gets a pass, because it's he's in the club. And I love the excuse that, it wasn't Josh, he had a demon in him that made him do it. No. Demons don't make you do anything, or a demon made him lustful. I'm a demisexual man who's never cheated on any of his girlfriends, never had a one-night stand, only slept with women that I was in a relationship with. And I'm a practicing witch, and Lilith is known for her lustful habits. And in full disclosure, I actually have 2 succubi attached to me at all times. So no, he's full of it. Anybody of any religion who says a demon made me do it lies. They usually use that excuse for cheating. Take it from the guy who's, who has succubus companions. Not how that works. Not how that works. May affect your dreams, but not your actions. Because demons, especially succubi that are the children of Lilith, free will is like a big part of who they are, like be who you really are kind of thing. So no. So remember to like and subscribe. I hope this wasn't too controversial. I didn't mean, please understand, I mean no offense to anybody of any religion mainstream, but I'm saying anybody in a mainstream of any religion must be willing to call out the fringe, the fundamentalists, the crazies who claim to be a part of that religion, even though they're making shit up as they go along kind of thing. So yes, unless you're a member of the Quiverful movement, or Scientology, or the Branch Davidians, or any of the other fringe groups that I mentioned, not picking on you, just saying, shouldn't be giving these crazies a free pass. They should be held accountable for their crimes, just like anybody else, regardless of what they profess their religious beliefs to be, because the laws apply equally to everybody, no matter what you got between your legs or who you call God. Like and subscribe.